girlfriend Willow that I wanted to break up, yet she suddenly seemed like a completely different person. She no longer kept entangled with her childhood sweetheart, and no matter how late I got off work, she would wait for me to come home. She began caring about my health and diet, started cooking for me herself. After learning that I was interested in photography, she even stayed up late cramming professional knowledge just to give me the most suitable camera lens. Yet my heart had already gone completely still. I even moved to the suburbs, a place an hour and a half's drive from her company, just to cut off all contact with her once and for all. What I never expected, however, was that the very next day she would appear living right across the hall from me. Only from that day on, she never begged me to change my mind again, and she and I became the neighbors with the most delicate relationship in the world. Chapter 1. I never expected that in the cafe where we were supposed to celebrate our anniversary, Willow would be 2 hours late. Even more unexpected was that her childhood sweetheart, Makoto, personally made her a cup of latte art coffee. Every gaze in the cafe gathered on me, waiting to see how I would react. I lifted my cup, took a sip of my Americano, put on a broad smile, and said, "Impressive skills. So, when did you two get together?" Makoto glanced at me with faint pride and said, "Willow said you've been too busy with work, so I came with her first." Willow explained, "George, I'm sorry, Makoto just happened to be nearby." I gently shook my head. "It's fine. Seeing an old friend on our anniversary isn't bad at all. How about another hug and a photo together? I can help you take it." Last month, at Makoto's startup success celebration, Willow took the initiative to take time off to accompany him. When I questioned why she was always so close to Makoto, she instead accused me of being overly suspicious, saying they were just friends who had grown up together. Because of that, we gave each other the cold shoulder for half a month. Yesterday, Willow sent me the cafe reservation details. I understood. It was her way of offering me a way out. Every time we argued or went cold, I was always the one to break the silence. As for her, after we reconciled, she would give me a small gift or be especially gentle with me for a day. Just like that, I would immediately forget all the previous unhappiness and turn back into George, who catered to her every whim. For the past few years, our relationship had always been like this. She would slap me once, then give me a piece of candy, and I would let everything go. The warmth and coldness of our relationship were entirely under her hand. I was like a kite with the string firmly held in her hand. But this time, when I saw her message, I felt none of the familiar excitement. On every past anniversary, I would remind her days in advance, afraid she might forget. This time, I didn't remind her, yet she remembered. I only replied, "Okay, see you at the cafe tomorrow," and then continued working on my code, instead of being happy for half the day just because of a small gesture of kindness from her. Just now, seeing Willow and Makoto sitting together, chatting and laughing, seeing that relaxed expression on her face that I rarely saw, my heart was unexpectedly calm. No disappointment. I waited another hour. During that time, Willow absent-mindedly chatted with me, her eyes constantly drifting toward Makoto. I glanced at my watch and politely excused myself. I promised a colleague I'd help fix a bug. I need to head out. Willow said with some dissatisfaction, "On such an important day, you're working overtime?" I smiled. "It's fine. You've got Mr. Ito keeping you company anyway." After leaving the cafe, I opened my phone browser and searched for Professional Photographer Certification Exam registration. As a programmer, I had always had a hidden hobby, photography. But over the past few years, in order to fit Willow's schedule, I had almost given it up entirely. After getting home, I washed up and went straight to sleep. In the middle of the night, I was awakened by the sound of the door opening. I knew Willow had come back. She walked lightly to the bedside and stood there for a long time. I could feel her gaze resting on me, but I pretended to be asleep and ignored her. Perhaps she was wondering why I didn't, like before, turn on all the lights and wait for her to come home, then question her about why she had been with Makoto for so long. Every time I questioned her like that in the past, she would look at me coldly, her eyes full of impatience and disdain, as if I were an unreasonable clown making a fuss. Now I finally see it clearly. How ridiculous. Why should I care about someone who doesn't care about me? "George," she called softly. I didn't respond, continuing to pretend to sleep. After a while, she walked away, and the sound of running water came from the bathroom. I opened my eyes in the darkness, my heart calmer than it had ever been before. The next morning, after getting up, I went straight to work. A full day of writing code kept me so busy that time actually passed quickly. After getting off work, I went to a Japanese restaurant for dinner before heading home. As soon as I opened the door, Willow was sitting on the sofa. While changing my shoes, I asked, "Back so early today?" "The project finished ahead of schedule," she said. I nodded, put down my backpack, and was about to head to the study. "George," Willow called out to stop me. "I prepared the anniversary gift a long time ago." She handed me an exquisite box. When I opened it, I saw a high-end camera lens. It was exactly the model I had always wanted but gave up on because it was too expensive. I smiled and said, "Thanks, it's a great gift. I'll try it out this weekend." Just as I was about to leave, Willow grabbed my arm. "About yesterday. I'm sorry I was late. When I was about to leave the office, Makoto suddenly came to see me and said there was something important to discuss. As a friend, I was just helping him." I interrupted her. "I believe you. Starting a business isn't easy for Mr. Ito. He needs support from friends. I still have some code to debug, so I'll get back to work." "George," she still didn't let go. I looked at her in confusion. "What is it?" "I haven't had dinner yet." "Oh, I already ate. Just order some takeout." With that, I shook off her hand and walked straight into the study. I had just sat down when I heard a loud bang from outside, the sound of the door slamming shut. Willow had left. Willow and I fell into another Cold War. In the past, every time we stopped talking, I would be restless, racking my brain to find ways to make her forgive me. But now, after a few days of silence, I actually felt an unprecedented sense of ease. At night, Willow slept in the guest bedroom. I had the entire king-size bed to myself and slept better than usual. In the mornings, I no longer had to wake up early to prepare breakfast for her, so I could sleep an extra half-hour every day. At work, my efficiency improved noticeably. I no longer stared at my phone waiting for her replies, nor did I constantly think of her face. Tasks that used to require daily overtime were now often finished ahead of schedule. After work, I was no longer in a rush to go home and cook. For Willow's health, I had once taught myself solid cooking skills, changing up dishes every day to suit her tastes. Yet being able to eat dinner at home twice a week was already considered good for her. Once I stopped revolving my life around Willow, I suddenly had a large amount of free time. I picked up my camera again, searching for beautiful light and shadows in the corners of the city. I even signed up for a photography training course to prepare for a professional certification. At the office, I overheard a new intern talking about learning a new front-end framework. Listening to her excitedly describe her study plan, I suddenly felt a wave of shame. I had been working for 5 years, yet my tech stack hadn't been updated in a long time. Thinking about it, it made sense. Over these years, my only life goal had been marrying Willow. Everything else felt unimportant. I once naively believed that as long as I could build a family with Willow and take care of our small everyday life, that would be the greatest happiness. If she wanted me to quit my job and stay at home, I would have agreed without hesitation. Now that way of thinking seemed utterly ridiculous. After sobering up, I finally realized how much of a failure I had been. In the relationship, I gave endlessly without receiving equal return. She wouldn't even give me a promise of marriage. At work, I had made no progress, and my competitiveness in the job market was steadily declining. I decided to change. First, I updated my knowledge base. I bought the latest technical courses and set aside 2 hours every evening to study. Next came improving my photography skills, attending training sessions on weekends and preparing for certification exams. Finally, fitness. I signed up for a gym membership and started exercising regularly. These past few days, Willow had been coming home very late every night. That was perfect. The apartment was quiet and I could focus on studying and practicing photography. During lunch break, while scrolling through my social feed, I saw Willow post an update, a rare occurrence. There was only one photo, no text at all. In the picture was a dining table with exquisite dishes and 2 coffee cups. At the corner of the table, a hand was visible, with the bracelet I had given her on the wrist. I knew Willow too well. Posting a photo of her dining with Makoto was meant to provoke my jealousy. But strangely, I no longer felt that familiar surge of anger. I glanced at it once, then continued. The tone was calm.
I'll pick you up after work. Instinctively, I wanted to refuse. No need. I'm working overtime today. We'll be back late. How late? She pressed. Probably around 8. I made up a time casually. Okay, I'll wait for you downstairs at 8. She hung up right after saying that. To keep up the lie, I didn't leave after work. Instead, I took out my photography textbooks and studied at a cafe near the office. At 8 o'clock, I packed up, grabbed my camera, and went downstairs. I spotted that familiar white SUV at a glance. I walked over and opened the door, only to find Makoto sitting in the passenger seat. Makoto smiled. George, I was just discussing a project with Willow. She said she'd give me a ride back since it's on the way. I nodded and quietly opened the back door and sat inside. As long as Makoto was around, I had never sat in the front passenger seat. Willow and I had argued about this more than once, but she always said Makoto got carsick and needed to sit in front, that I was making a fuss over trivial things. I said the passenger seat was my exclusive place as her boyfriend, but she mocked me for being childish. In this matter, I had never won against Makoto. But now I no longer cared. Makoto, the tiramisu at that cafe today was amazing. Let's go again next time, Willow said excitedly. Makoto smiled and nodded. Sure, if you like it, I'll take you every week. Willow's voice was light. You always get the coffee ratios just right for me. You're so thoughtful. I'm used to it. I know you like extra sugar and less milk. Next time I'll make it for you too. No need. Just enjoy it, Makoto said, then suddenly turned to me. What kind of coffee does George like? Should Willow make one for you as well? I recalled the first time I took Willow to that cafe she liked. I carefully made a cup of coffee exactly to her taste, but she had replied coldly, Thanks, but I can make it myself. From that moment on, I never made coffee for her again. Chapter 3. I looked up at Makoto. The light inside the car was dim, but I could still see the provocation in his eyes. He had always been like this, deliberately trying to irritate me, then waiting for Willow to step in and defend him. This time, however, I realized that I no longer had any urge to fight back at all. Seeing that I didn't react, Makoto frowned slightly and turned back to chatting with Willow. Her attitude toward him was noticeably gentler than toward me. Listening to their conversation, I felt a wave of exhaustion and, without realizing it, fell asleep. When I woke up, the car was already parked at the entrance of our residential complex, and Makoto was gone. I straightened up, opened the car door, and asked, Why didn't you wake me when we got home? Willow followed behind me in silence. It wasn't until we entered the apartment that she spoke. Are you very tired? What? I asked. Makoto and I were still talking, and you fell asleep in the back seat. I guess I was a bit tired. I had no interest in continuing the topic. I just wanted to shower and sleep. Today was a company project meeting. Colleagues from the marketing department were there too. Makoto attended as a representative of the investors. She suddenly began to explain. After the meeting, everyone went for coffee together. It wasn't just me and him. That was...
Alicia smiled, but she seems to remember it really well, even the principle behind a tilt-shift lens. I think she cares a lot about you. I fell silent. Maybe, but to Willow, Makoto might be more important. When I got home that night, Willow was already asleep. The next morning, when I got up, I found that she was already awake with a hot breakfast laid out on the table. Good morning. I made your favorite fried egg sandwich, she said with a smile. Thanks, but I already arranged to carpool with a colleague today. I checked the time. I need to head out. Don't rush. I'll drive you, she said, stopping me. No need. We already agreed and I've paid my share of the fare. Then I'll drive you starting tomorrow, she insisted. This is fine for now. Haven't you always said you wanted to sleep in a bit in the mornings? I said as I put on my shoes, getting ready to leave. Willow followed me and said, I'll start waking up early with you. I turned around and looked at her curiously. Why the sudden enthusiasm? She lowered her head and said, I want to spend more time with you. All right, we'll talk about it next month. I've already paid my colleague for this month, I said, then closed the door and left. Chapter 4. Willow's change came too suddenly, leaving me a little unsettled. For the past few years, I had grown used to chasing after her back. Now that our roles had reversed, I found myself at a loss. After work one evening, I walked out of the company building and saw Willow's car again. I had intended to refuse, but thinking that there were some things that really needed to be talked through face to face, I got into the car. This time, I sat in the passenger seat. Once inside, I noticed a photography magazine placed there, the latest issue. I bought it for you, Willow said as she started the car. I saw the new issue at the bookstore and picked it up. Thanks.
I flipped it open and saw that several pages were marked with sticky notes. She explained, "Those pages talk about things to watch out for when taking the certification exam. I thought they might be helpful to you." I stopped turning the pages and asked, "How did you know I'm planning to take the exam?" "I saw you reading photography textbooks a few days ago," she said softly. "I know you've always wanted to get a photographer's certification." Bakar fell silent for a moment before Willow spoke again. "I'm sorry, I ignored you too much in the past." Her words moved me slightly, but also made me more clear-headed. Was her change simply because she had sensed my distance? "George, lately Tonight I'm having dinner with colleagues. Please drop me off at the intersection ahead," I interrupted her. "Which colleagues?" "From the tech department. A project just wrapped up, so we're celebrating." Willow bit her lip. "Will that Alicia be there too?" "Probably. She's part of the team." "I'm worried about you drinking. What time will it end? I'll come pick you up." "I'm not sure. It might be late. You should go home and rest." "I can wait," she insisted. "Really no need. I'll take a cab back." When we reached the restaurant, she suddenly grabbed me before I got out of the car. "George, I know I haven't done well lately, but I'll change. Really." I paused, then said, "Change doesn't need to be this deliberate. Just be yourself." The colleague dinner was lively, and everyone drank quite a bit. I had a few drinks myself and felt slightly tipsy. Alicia suggested going to sing karaoke.
Strange. In the past, whenever I questioned why she was always with Makoto, she never explained. Now that I wasn't asking anymore, she was explaining on her own. I nodded and headed toward the bathroom. "I wanted to invite you to join us, but you said you were working overtime," she continued explaining. "Got it. I'm going to take a shower first." I quickened my pace. After showering, I went straight to bed. The next evening, after work, I saw Willow's car parked outside the company again. This time, she was alone in the car. I still sat in the back seat. Willow glanced at me as if she wanted to say something, but stopped herself. "There's a photography exhibition today. I made plans with a colleague to go see it," I said, as the car started moving. Willow tightened her grip on the steering wheel and asked, "With whom?" "Alicia from the tech department. She likes photography too." "That intern?" Willow's tone sounded a little off. "Yeah, she's already been made permanent and works on front-end development." "I'll drive you there." "No need. We agreed to meet at the exhibition hall entrance. Just drop me off at home so I can change." Back home, I changed my clothes and was about to head out when Willow suddenly came out of the room. She had changed into casual clothes as well. "I'll go take a look too," she said. "I've been looking for design inspiration lately anyway." I was a bit surprised, but didn't refuse. "Sure, let's go together." When we arrived at the entrance of the exhibition hall, Alicia was already waiting. She was 2 years younger than me, had just recently become a full-time employee after her internship, and had an outgoing, lively personality with great enthusiasm for photography. Seeing that I had brought Willow along, she froze for a moment, then greeted her warmly. "Hi, Willow. I didn't expect you to come too. This is great." "I heard from George that there's a photography exhibition, so I came along to take a look," Willow replied calmly. The three of us entered the exhibition hall together. Alicia was curious about every piece and frequently discussed shooting techniques and composition ideas with me. Willow walked beside us, unusually silent. Halfway through the exhibition, Alicia suddenly pointed at a landscape photo. "This composition is really special. Look at the perspective. It seems like it was shot with a tilt-shift lens." "Yes, this kind of lens can—" I was about to explain when Willow suddenly picked up the conversation. "This was taken with a tilt-shift lens. It changes the parallel relationship between the lens and the sensor, creating a miniature model effect," she said smoothly. When she looked at me, there was a faint smile at the corner of her lips. Alicia looked at her in surprise. "You know photography too, Willow?" "Not really. I've just heard George talk about it many times," Willow said lightly, though her eyes never left my face. I was stunned. I hadn't expected her to remember the photography knowledge I once excitedly explained to her. Back then, she had looked distracted, and I assumed she hadn't listened at all. After finishing the exhibition, Alicia suggested going to a nearby restaurant for dinner. Willow glanced at her watch and said,
Sorry, I still have some work to take care of. You two go ahead. I'll walk you back, I said. No need. You go eat. I'll call a car myself. With that, she turned and left, her steps slightly hurried. Alicia asked awkwardly, "Did I interrupt your date?" "No, we decided to come together at the last."
Together. I checked the time. It was already 9:30. I'll pass. I still have work tomorrow. George, we finally got together. Come on, my colleagues teased. While I was hesitating, I received a message from Willow. I'm outside the restaurant. Have you been drinking? I stepped outside and, sure enough, saw her standing by the roadside. Why are you here? I asked, surprised. I was worried you drank too much. She walked over and supported me. I'll take you home. After getting into the car, she buckled my seatbelt for me, but didn't start driving right away. She turned toward me and gently hugged me. So this is what it feels like to wait for someone. I'm sorry, George. I made you wait so many times before. I gently pushed her away. Let's drive. I want to go home and sleep. She smiled and rubbed my head. With that little alcohol tolerance, you still dare to drink? That kind of intimacy left me a bit dazed. Once upon a time, this was the tenderness I longed for. Now, though, there was a strange sense of distance in my heart. In the days that followed, Willow seemed like a completely different person. She picked me up and dropped me off on time every day, stopped going out with colleagues, and insisted on cooking dinner at home every night while waiting for me. She even began sharing her daily life with me, sending messages to ask what I'd eaten or what I'd seen. What surprised me most was that she started seriously learning about photography, buying many professional books and occasionally discussing shooting techniques with me. Once, she even said she wanted to go to the suburbs with me to shoot the sunrise. Her change genuinely moved me, but at the same time, it made me feel pressured. Especially when I was studying or practicing photography, she would come in from time to ask if I wanted water or if I was tired, interrupting my train of thought. So I started lying again, saying that work projects were intense and I needed to work overtime often. In reality, after work, I would go to a cafe near the company to study on my own and enjoy some solitude. One evening after work, I went to my usual cafe again. About 2 hours later, the cafe suddenly lost power. The staff said it was a wiring issue and would take some time to fix. I packed up my things, planning to go to another cafe to continue. As soon as I stepped outside, I heard Willow's voice. "George!" She was standing across the street holding a thermos. Seeing my expression, she said softly, "I know you're not working overtime. You've been studying here these past few days." "Are you following me?" I asked, displeased. "I'm worried about you," she said as she walked closer. "Why lie to me? If you want to study quietly, I can leave you alone at home." I took a deep breath. "Let's talk at home." After we went inside, just as I was changing my shoes, Willow spoke. "Are you tired of me?" I froze for a moment and didn't deny it immediately. "Lately, you'd rather study outside than come home. Am I not doing well enough? If there's anything you're unhappy with, tell me. I can change it all." Her tone carried a hint of pleading. Looking at her anxious expression, I finally made my mind. "I think we need to talk seriously about our relationship." "George, oh right, I almost forgot. I'm going on a business trip to City A tomorrow," Willow suddenly interrupted. "Let's rest early tonight and talk after I get back, okay?" I noticed a flash of panic in her eyes and could only nod.
All right. Have you packed yet? Not yet. Then go pack. I'll take a shower first. In the past, every time Willow went on a business trip, I was the one who packed for her, carefully preparing everything she needed. But now, I didn't have the heart for it anymore. The next morning, watching Willow leave with her suitcase, I unexpectedly felt a sense of relief. At last, I could quietly think about our relationship without having to take her feelings into account. Chapter 5. On the third day of Willow's business trip, I received a call from Makoto at noon. "George, Willow has a high fever. She's at Central Hospital now," he said, his voice tinged with urgency. I rushed to the hospital and saw Willow leaning weakly against the IV chair, her face pale, clearly quite ill. "Aren't you supposed to be in City A?" I walked over to her, puzzled. Willow opened her eyes. Seeing me, surprise flashed across her face, quickly followed by awkwardness. "George, why are you here? Who told you?" "I did," Makoto said, as he walked in with a cup of hot water. "I thought that as her boyfriend, you had the right to know." I turned to Willow. "So you didn't go on a business trip?" She lowered her head, her voice weak. "I'm sorry. I lied." I understood. She was avoiding the issue. She had realized there were problems between us, but she didn't want to face them. The last time I tried to talk about our relationship, she had escaped using the excuse of a business trip, choosing to stay in a hotel rather than confront me directly. "Willow, running away won't solve anything," I said calmly. Makoto suddenly cut in. "You should be more understanding. Willow's been staying in a hotel these past few days because she was afraid you'd be angry. She loves you so much, yet you don't care about her feelings at all." "She's the one who said she was going on a business trip," I replied. Willow looked up at me, her eyes pleading. "George, can we talk after I get better?" "All right," I nodded. "Get some good rest. I'll head back to work." "George, you're just leaving like this?" She stared at me in disbelief. I looked at her and said, "It's just a cold and a fever. You're an adult. You don't need to be this fragile, do you?" At those words, Willow snapped her head up. Shock and hurt filled her eyes. She understood immediately. This was exactly what she had said to me last year. Last winter, I had suddenly come down with a high fever and went alone to the hospital at night for an IV drip. Watching other patients being accompanied by loved ones while I sat there alone, I couldn't help but call Willow, hoping she would come keep me company. She rejected me coldly. "You're an adult. You don't need to be so fragile, do you? It's just a cold. Without me, can't you even get an IV?" On the other end of the phone, there was loud KTV noise, and Makoto's voice shouted, "Willow, it's your turn to pick a song." That chill in my heart, I remember it vividly to this day. Yet I had no backbone. After only a few days of Cold War, she coaxed me back, and I gave in. Now, as she tasted the same bitterness herself, regret and understanding finally appeared in her eyes. Makoto couldn't stand it anymore and said, "George, you've gone too far. She's sick, and you're ignoring her and even blaming her instead." I smiled faintly. "See, someone cares about you." With that, I turned and left. That night, Willow didn't come home. She sent a message saying she would stay at the hotel for now and come back to talk properly after she recovered. In truth, I had already made my decision about our relationship, breaking up. It wasn't an impulsive